Hi, welcome to the podcast Ease into Clarity. I'm Dr. Divi, family doctor turned intuitive coach, and I'm here to help you. In this podcast, we will learn mental techniques, emotional techniques, and spiritual techniques to change daily problems. So maybe it's your husband, your boss, your coworker, your kids, they're driving you crazy. You can email me any of your questions and I will use all the techniques I've learned over the years and help you. Grab your hot chocolate and make sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Ciao. Hello and welcome back. I am your host, Dr. Divi. Welcome to the podcast Ease into Clarity. If you've listened to the last few episodes, we've talked about the feminine. This is the last one in this little series on the mother wound. I'm trying to clump 3 videos or podcasts together to help you out. So today we're going to talk about the mother wound, which if you've listened to the first 2 on the fear of the feminine and the lack of the feminine, that will help you to understand today's podcast. But today we're talking about a really big topic called the mother wound. Don't worry, I'm going to break it down to 4 simple steps in just a few minutes here, so just bear with me. At the end of the day, we all have a mom. And Hollywood and Hallmark would love to teach us that mother is the best thing in the world, and she didn't harm you, and she did the best she could, and she was wonderful. All of that's true. We're also taught, that the mother is the most important thing to us, especially as little girls. And that mother-daughter relationship should be like, go to pedicures every Friday, because that's the mother-daughter relationship you should have. So we're taught all these things about the mother and what their role in our life is. And for many of us, if not the majority of us, we don't have that Hallmark mother. It's not because our mother screwed up. It's not because anything bad happened, but it's because our soul chose this mother. Oh, that sounds like Hogus. I know it does. Trust me. But then the more you dive into this work, the more you realize, okay, maybe there's truth here, but we're not going to go down that path. We're just going to talk about healing the mother wound today. All of our mother's unhealed stuff becomes our unhealed stuff. Let me give you an example. Let's just say your mom was so busy at work and juggling work and 3 kids or work and 1 kid, but the work was what she was taught was so important to her. You may have, as a result of that experience, mom was really busy. You had to, watch after school shows to function. And all you wanted was mom to come around and give you a hug, but mom couldn't. She was working. And that may create what's in your body, a rejection wound, an abandonment wound, I can't trust women wound. That's in you. And you could spend the rest of your life blaming your mom. Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But at a certain point, that gets really tiring. I can tell you in my personal life, I spent probably a good 2, 3, 5 years in that place. It was fun. It wasn't fun. It was not fun at all. But in today's podcast, I'm going to go through the steps I took to really break that mother wound, because I have a deep mother wound, as we all do. We all do. Mine isn't bigger than yours. No one's is bigger than the others. It's what we choose to do with that impact. So we choose to think about it. And what a lot of us try to do is just ignore it. We take a lot of drugs. We drink a lot of alcohol. We find lots of guys to sleep with. We find girlfriends to distract ourselves with. We find other mothers of our friends to become our surrogate mother. We do lots of things other than address the mother's wound. Because like I said, our mother's unhealed stuff becomes our unhealed stuff. And I often say this in workshops, and you're going to understand this concept by the end of it. It's a hard one to hear. It's not our mother's job to love us. That's not what we learn. It's our mother's job to love us. The thing is, there's an innateness to every mother that loves their child. There just is. There just is. Having been a mother, worked with tons of mothers, there's an innateness. But when we have the wounds that we have, those wounds perceive our mother doesn't love us. It's up to us to heal those wounds. It's up to us to look inside. We can't rewind time and say, mother, be a different person, become a better person so I don't have these wounds. That's never going to happen. So in today's podcast, I'm going to go through the 4 steps that I took to heal my mother wound, and I hope they help you. Might be 5. The first step, I had to be honest with myself. I had to admit how it felt. I had to admit it felt terrible when mom wasn't available. It felt awful when my mom put me down. It felt awful when I perceived that my mother loved my brother more than me. I have to be honest, because don't forget, there's a part of your brain, the frontal lobe to be specific, that doesn't want to go there. Because if I go there, it's going to be painful. If I go there, I have to walk on landmines and admit the hurt I felt. And don't forget, we talked about this in one of our first podcasts. One of the functions of the brain is to go, no, pain, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. And it just gets trapped back here in our subconscious. Cool, back here. If I don't look at it, it's going to run my brain. We talked about that in the first or second podcast of me starting this podcast series. So the first thing we need to do with our mother wound is admit we've got it. You might spend some time blaming. You might spend some time being really angry. That's okay. Because otherwise it's trapped back here. I'll teach you a really simple technique that I teach a lot of people to dig into their mother wound before I go to the next part. The technique is really simple. Sit in the middle of the room and face to the right and face to the left. But let's start with the right. When you face the right, you're going to say out loud all the things you loved about your mother. Mom, you were beautiful. Mom, you were kind at times. Mom, you provided dinner every night. Thank you so much. Everything good comes out of your mouth. Everything you loved about your mother. Then when that naturally, organically stops, you go back to the middle. And then you turn to the left and you go, Mom, this is the stuff you didn't like about your mom. Mom, this is the honest stuff. Mom, I didn't like it when Christmas became a 900-year experience. I didn't like it when you got mad at me because I dropped the Christmas bulb. I didn't like it when I got yelled at for being late for Christmas dinner. So you want to be really honest with what you're feeling over here. And that honesty is the hardest part. And it can take you days, weeks, months, years to work through. But you are doing yourself and your children and society the biggest favor by admitting this stuff. That's step one. Now, how long you stay in step one and angry and blaming is up to you. There's like a natural organic time that happens to each person that they're tired of talking about the pain and they want to move to the next step. So step two is to recognize where your mother came from. And that might take asking your mother or asking your father or asking your grandparents, because sometimes your mother won't tell you. Yeah, your grandfather raped me. Or yeah, we went for food multiple nights without it, because some mothers don't want to tell their children what they went through. Okay. Sometimes you need to ask other people, your aunts, your uncles, whoever. But understanding your mother had a pain story and hearing it maybe through her or ideally somebody else, and thinking of her like a TV character, like if you're watching a TV show and this was your mom's life, you might have some compassion. She was never heard by her father. She was never seen by her mother. Her dad died when she was young. That degree of compassion, of understanding your story, is step two. Step three is to understand that there is another energy that can heal your wound. So let's just say you have an abandonment wound or a rejection wound or not being heard wound, not being safe wound. It's not your mom's job to heal it. It's your job. So you want to create a safety with this word called love, the word called universe, the universe words called grace, words called flow, the word called spirit. There is an energy out there of unconditional love that we want to tap into, because it's only that step three is important, because only when we tap into that thing called unconditional love can we heal our pain. I've said this many times in the podcast so far. The mind cannot heal the mind. Only the non-physical love can heal the mind. So how do you tap into this non-physical love, Divi? You start with things like animals and plants. Dogs, oh, my favorite thing in the world, cats, whatever you love that's non-physical, that's not human, I should say, that you know is unconditional love. That's the place to start. If a dog can give you unconditional love, that should tell you that unconditional love exists. You've associated in your brain unconditional love with my puppy, Joe, but unconditional love is an emotion and it exists. Okay? So you have to start to step three, you have to train your mind that love, grace, the universe's love exists. It just does. Just train yourself. Spend 10 years with a dog. Plants can do the same thing for some people. Just really connect with unconditional love. Then step four is forgiveness. It's partly forgiving your mom, but it's mostly forgiving that wound. forgiving that wound of abandonment, forgiving that wound of rejection, forgiving that wound that you weren't important. Because to the universe, you're important. To the universe, you're not rejected. To the universe, you're not abandoned. And forgiveness with number 4 and number 2 go hand in hand. When I can forgive them and forgive the story and let in love for my puppy, then that wound that's triggering me 24/7 can be healed. If you get stuck with step 4, it's very common to get stuck. You might need a deeper class to take you there. But I can tell you, as somebody who's done this work myself, step 4 isn't hard. It just takes that unconditional love part of you that wants to love that rejected wound. Because we are responsible for healing our mother's wound, not our mom or our dad or our husbands or our kids. We have to do it for ourselves. So I hope that helps as this wraps up the female 3 podcast series. So as I wind down here, I want to remind you, I work as a professional intuitive. I'm a family doctor by background, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So if you've got some questions or comments, feel free to put them down below on the podcast. Share this with your friends. I would love it if you did. I would love it if you subscribed. If you want to send me an email, easeintoclarity@gmail.com. And you could ask a personal question. Divi, I'm stuck with my mother wound. She did this. I'd like some help. Happy to help. So sending you lots of love. I hope this was helpful in any which way. It can be a lifelong journey, but the best journey. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast, Ease into Clarity. It is such a joy, pleasure, and honor to be in your living room. What I would love is if you follow me on Instagram, DRDIVI, or go to my website, drdivi.com, or write a review. That would be even more amazing. Thank you. If you really enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share it with friends, family, tell them to follow me, because I think the more of us that listen to the fact that each of us can start to shift, each of us can shift mental things, emotional things, spiritual shift, to shift our daily reality. When more and more of us do it, we get a better planet. We get more love. We get more happiness. We get more joy. So I'd love it if you followed. I'd love it if you shared this, because it would be such a joy and an honor. And again, if you have a question, guess what? I'm here for you. So send me an email, easeintoclarity@gmail.com. And as they come in, I will answer them in podcasts that are subsequent, whether it be your boss, your relationship, your husband, whatever. That's what I'm here for. Because the more of us that learn really simple mental techniques, really simple spiritual techniques, we change the physical reality we live in. Pretty soon we have more peace, more ease, more joy trickling across the whole world. Remember, there's a spiritual solution for every problem. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.